Okay, we are live, and we've already got a few people in here right now. Catfish Fever. What's up, Daniel? Down East. We were just talking about your leaders, bud. We're sitting back here going over some of the leaders and things that you've made. We got 9 people already in here. We're gonna sit back and wait just a few minutes and try to let everybody else pile in real quick. For whatever reason, YouTube always gives the notification like a couple seconds late. So, like you were talking about a second ago with the redfish, the biggest one I've caught so far, though, I was using a whole bluefish as a shark, and the redfish ate it. He swallowed it. It's a 48-inch redfish.
Wow, 48 inch.
Yeah,
That's a nice. That's a nice redfish.
that's the biggest one I've caught so far, and it was on a whole bluefish.
Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and share this out while we're waiting a second. Glad to see everybody's coming in here tonight. Let's see, we got Chucky, Indiana. We got Big Slim, Dave. I see y'all poking in. Jimmy, what's going on?
How you doing, Chucky? Lynn?
Everything being slow tonight.
Yeah. Well, they've been having problems too.
Of course.
It just uploaded my last live this afternoon. StreamYard was having problems. How you doing, Michelle? Down east.
Yep, I see Rob, you're in there. It's all mine. Yep. While we're waiting on people to pile in here, I do want to say I appreciate you being on here. You're the first one to actually ask me to come on, so that was super exciting. I was super excited about that. I'm like, oh heck yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Sweet. Got Chris Everett in here. Oh wait, you were in there earlier. I'm sorry.
Chris Everett's one of them that actually he uses that Hawaiian slide rig that I introduced to the community. He caught a nice brown trout on it. He said, "Hey, Cost, Annette."
What's up, Brian B? I see you poking in here also.
Brian B.
What's up, Dale? Yeah, it's mostly the catfish family, but y'all know there's more on here than just catfish on Monster Monday. Today is going to be one of them. It's going to be something different. Actually it's a fish that I've always wanted to go catch too. I've never had the opportunity. I think any kind of salmon or giant trout is just like amazing.
Yeah, right now the brown trout are running too. So hopefully next weekend we can get into those.
Yeah, our stripes just showed up this week. I see burbot. Catfish said burbot. I was just looking at those. That's a weird fish, man. That is such a weird. I mean, it's neat but weird.
Yeah. Hey, Gray. Yeah, the burbot is very interesting. Like that 8.9 pound burbot I caught. It didn't have no eyes. He was blind.
It had no eyes.
Yeah. He was completely blind.
Oh my god.
Hey, Jeremy. So that makes you wonder, like they say they're bottom feeders. Like a lot of people say catfish are bottom feeders. But I've caught on one of my lives actually, I caught a 4 pound burbot on my slide rig, which means they come up in the water column. They don't just feed on the bottom.
Right. Shoot, I've had catfish come up As a matter of fact, you were talking about your burbot being blind. We actually had a
Hmm.
catfish that had no eyes come up to a boat chasing our minnows one time. We
Yeah.
were crappie fishing, and something kept hitting it, so we pulled it up, and it was about a 3 pound channel cat. It was born with no eyes, like there was no slots. It was just a smooth head, but he was swimming up. He was healthy, and he was chasing it. We were
Hmm.
in 18 foot of water.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he come up pretty high for it.
Yeah, I mean, so it just makes you wonder, I guess, for like blind people or deaf people, people that are deaf and stuff, I guess their other senses kick in, you know?
Shoot. Them fish, man, they a lot of times they can't see in muddy water or anything. They're going off of their lateral line. They can feel the
Yeah.
movement or smell.
Hmm.
Catfish especially, it's just a big tongue. Their whole body just taste
Right.
buds.
See, I'm wondering if the burbot is actually like that. Uh, because like I said, that my PB for my burbot was that 8.9 pounder. He completely blind. How'd he know
He
I was
smelled
just
them.
using a cut bait?
Yeah. What's up, Daryl? I see you in there, buddy. You're late, but we're giving everybody a chance to get in here. YouTube it always announces your stuff a few minutes late on here, so I
Yeah.
see people are starting to come in now. We got 21 folks.
David Smith.
Yep. What's up, David? See you in here also. Yep. So I guess if you want to, we got enough people in here if you want to kick us off and start talking about your fish, which is definitely not a catfish.
Yeah, so the biggest fish I've caught up here in Wisconsin was out of Lake Michigan in the Sheboygan River. It was a 30 and a half pound king salmon. And the rig we used for that in the town we live in, I caught him with a Santee rig, or actually a Carolina rig, excuse me. Uh, Using skein, which is the or spawn sack for him, which is you put it in a netting, spawn netting, and you tie it off with magic thread. And because our water here, our river is muddy, I was using a green netting. So I use salmon eggs. That's what we use to catch salmon. Well, this guy, I don't know. Well, it was 6 o'clock in the evening, actually. Earlier that morning, I caught a 20 pounder, I think it was, and went back that evening about 5:30. So about a half an hour after I got out there, this thing, when a salmon hits, it hits. People think catfish run. Man, this salmon, if you don't know how to work, use your drag, they will spool you in a heartbeat. And I use the same rods I use for catfishing. It took me a half an hour to actually pull this guy in on Ugly Stick GX2 7 foot with 17-pound test.
Whew. Man, that's
I
un-
do, yeah. I know there's a video out there somewhere because this lady, she filmed. Man, there were people across the river by the boat ramp fishing. There were people fishing all along the walkway where we was, and there's a Mexican restaurant right there. People stopped eating. They were watching. They watched me the whole 30 minutes. And when I landed that fish, it just erupted. Everybody started yelling and clapping, and DNR survey guy was right there. So I had to talk to him. He wanted to know what rig I was using, what bait, because there's two ways you use the salmon eggs for bait. You cure them. We use Boraxo fire made by Potsy's. What that does, it toughens up the salmon eggs, and it's got different scent in there. It's got like Creole, all different kinds of stuff in it to give off the scent. So, and when they do, like I said, when they hit, they just take off. So you pretty much set the hook, because I caught him. We use one-aught Gamakatsu octopus circle hooks.
You said one-aught, the little, the
Yep, a one-aught Gamakatsu.
oh
Actually,
man.
let's see. I can actually show the exact hook. That right there, little one-aught Gamakatsu. That landed my 30.5 pound king salmon.
That's
I mean,
smaller than what I use for my channel cats.
yeah. But yeah. I mean, the hook set perfect right in the corner of his mouth. Hey, Miss Jody. And it was funny because guys had to clear their lines and everything.
I was
And
going to say,
four,
go through what you had to go through with those lines.
yeah, 4 times I had to walk back and forth, probably about 50 yard length that I walked 4 times. And the whole time I'm using my, it was a spinning reel. I had my Quantum Optic 60 with Berkeley Big Game 17-pound test on. Actually, let's see if I can get the rod sitting right here. Caught him on this rod right here. The only difference is I had my Quantum Optics on there. And everybody up here, they're like, oh, your equipment's too big for salmon. Like, no, I want to land my fish.
Yeah.
I don't want to play around with them. So, I mean, yeah, that was an adrenaline rush, man. It was actually pretty awesome.
They're saying you're using too big of equipment, but I mean, what you were using, you already had a 30-minute fight with that fish.
Yeah. And I mean, I had to let the fish, I let him run one time. One of his runs, I let him run he ran my spool to about halfway. And there's like 200 something yards the Quantum Optic 60 can hold. Man, I just had my rod on my chest. I couldn't do nothing. I was tired. My arms were shot. It took 2 nets to actually net the fish because he wasn't done fighting at all. And he wasn't silver because he's changing color because it was spawning time. He was an olive color. Just like the picture of that salmon I sent you, which is, that one is the 29-pound salmon.
Yeah. That's still a big fish. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference looking at him. It's a huge fish.
Mm-hmm. And I think that 30-pounder, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I would have to look at the pictures I got. I think that was a natural salmon. They didn't plant him because when they plant, the ones they plant, they cut that back fin off right before the tail. They take that off so they know that's a planted salmon. They know they planted that fish. It came from the hatchery.
I was just saying that was so yours was an actual native salmon. That one's been in the water for a while.
Yeah, he was at least a 4 year old. He was about a 4 or 5 year old.
Wow.
So
30
he
pounds
was
at 4 or 5 years old.
he was old, man. But he still fought. I mean, he was fighting even after we got him in the net.
See, I see a few more people in here. Also, I see they're saying that Brian B, you reached your 1K, bud. Congratulations, man. I knew sooner or later it was going to happen for you, buddy.
Yeah, congratulations, Brian B. Well deserved, man.
Yeah, you put a lot of work in. And then I seen a comment over here. Oh yeah, Daryl put sturgeon last week, salmon this week. What will we get next week? Tadpoles?
Hey, Melissa, LG Bass.
Yep. So, well, that was your. You said you caught the 29 pounder and you caught a 30 pounder. And I know you told
Yeah,
me behind backstage before this started that you were actually hooked into another one right after
yeah,
you landed that one. So that was you were having an incredible day that day.
yeah. Yeah, not even 2 minutes after we got him to where I was set up at, throw him on the ground, and something told me to look at my other two rods. And the one closest to me, the second rod just went down and took off. I fought that fish, like I told you backstage. I fought him for maybe 2 minutes, and he spit the hook because I couldn't set the hook for nothing after a 30-minute fight.
Arms are wore out.
Yeah. And what's neat about salmon, man, they will breach water. They jump. That guy jumped quite a few times to try and throw that hook.
Oh wow.
So you gotta keep tension on that. You gotta keep your line tight, but at the same time, you gotta know when to reel, when not to reel.
Now have you tried going for them with anything else, or do you just normally use that Carolina rig? Do you try fly fishing for them or anything like that, or
Actually, this year I started looking into what type of what weight I need for fly fishing, what fly fishing rod I need. And me, because it's me, I'm going with a 10 weight.
yep. I was gonna say probably at least a 9 weight, but yeah, 10 weight.
Yeah, I'll go with a 10 weight and probably floating line.
That's gonna be now you get one on a fly rod, you're talking about that fight, you're that's really gonna be crazy. That's gonna be insane.
Yeah. What's
Uh,
even crazier, I've never traditionally fly fish. I tried teaching myself years ago, but I stopped. I know I can I'll be able to pick it up pretty quick because in Hawaii we do what we call whipping. You use a spinning rod for whipping, but it's practically the same thing. You can put grubs, flies. Uh, I mean, there's guys out there that are using 12, 13, 14 foot uh, lighter weight rods for whipping in Hawaii. It's the same technique, just with spinning reel.
oh, that's neat. I've never
Yeah,
heard of that. I'm gonna have to look at that. That's pretty cool.
and they got. I was looking into it. Nowadays, they got what they call hammer bomb. It's a. It's got a wire going through this floating thing. Uh, and you tie your main line to one side, then you tie your leader line to the other. Whatever whatever you're throwing casting out, but it helps keep the lure in the strike zone longer. while you're doing your whipping. And well, back in the day, we was doing that, but we was doing it with, we'd get a golf ball and 2 eye screws and screw the eye screws into the golf ball.
Okay. Hey, whatever works,
Yeah, because it gives you that weight, especially if you're using a fly, because that'll give you the weight to cast out further.
Now, what would you said y'all do that in Hawaii. What were y'all usually targeting over there?
GTs, trevally jack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the big fish everybody goes for from the shore, from the beach.
Now those actually get huge. They're like 150, 160 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen a few that were 200 pounders.
That's a whole nother class of fishing right there.
You talk about a 4. I seen a guy fight, I think it was 3.5 hours. He fought this fish one time, and that was on a 120-pound trevally jack. If you look up, the Hawaiian word for it is ULAU.
Yeah, the Ula or Eula.
Ula?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about getting some, because the tackle shop that I get all my slide rigs and stuff like that, it's in the town I grew up in Hawaii. So I'm way in Wisconsin, still supporting small businesses in the town I lived in, grew up in.
Nice. Yeah, I actually, for a long time, when I first started catfishing, I used some of those the Ula rods, or because they've got like a long metal handle on the back end, so you can shove them down into the rocks.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got that, and what we'd do, we'd just shove the rod holder in the reef.
Okay.
And they're heavy duty rod holders, angle iron, and all that. Yeah, right. They probably do at the hotels.
Yeah, right.
Dan.
Yep. Daryl put down here, what a culture change, moved from Hawaii to Wisconsin.
No, first it was Hawaii to Texas.
Oh.
I was in Texas from 98 to 08. And I've been between here and Texas from on and off since 08. But man, the fishery in Wisconsin, it's actually an amazing fishery. You just got to know how to target the fish that you're going after. That's why I always research. Right now, we're researching on how to catch whitefish out of Lake Michigan, which is another fish that is part of the trout and salmon family.
See, Chris put down here, he said, what part of Texas were you in?
I was 60 miles north of Houston. Right up, straight up 59 from Houston. I was in Cleveland, Texas.
Okay. So you talked about your salmon and some of your techniques and everything. Now, since we've got a little bit of time, and I kind of want you to talk about it, could you go over your little buddy that you like to catch, the burbot? That fish is just neat to me.
The burbot. Very interesting fish. Part of the it's part of the cod family. It's a ling cod, is what it is. But from catching them and actually specifically targeting and catching them, they act more like a flathead than a cod would act. They take the bait. They can either sometimes they take the bait real slow and they'll sit there, or they'll take that bait and they'll just slam down on it. Like that 8.9 pound burbot I caught. I caught him on my big cat fever, medium heavy rod, and he bent that rod over, and he was only might as well say a 9 pound fish. So he slammed that bait, which I was using. What was we using that night? Oh, cut sucker and cut golden shiner.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're very interesting fish. Best time to catch them is when it gets cold, like when it is really really cold. Although my buddy caught one in the middle of summer, but it was at night. We catch a lot of ours at night. That's why when I go live burbot fishing, we start off during the day, but we'll fish into the late night.
I was gonna say, I've usually when I see some of your lives, it's always nighttime when you're fishing for them. So they're kind of a cold weather fish.
Yeah. And another thing that's really strange. Now you hear about the winds. If the wind's coming from the east and all that, the weird thing is the burbot, the time they bite the best, they say, is when the wind's coming out of the north. I
Okay.
guess because it's colder. I haven't figured that one out, but yeah, they're a strange fish.
See, I do one more question about your little bourbon buddy.
Mhm.
What would you the meat? What does it taste like to you?
If you've ever had any type of cod, they have the same flavor as the cod. They're flaky. Their their meat's real flaky when you cook it. Uh, yeah, they taste just like cod. If up here, a lot of people boil it in. They'll chunk it up and they'll boil it in 7 Up, and then that right there, that's where they get the nickname "Poor Man's Lobster" because it'll have the texture like lobster.
Oh wow! And we were talking about this behind stage for a little bit, but he was telling me that when he fillets them, he gets 4 fillets off of them like a flounder, pretty much. You get the 2 fillets, and then you get 2 big back straps.
Yeah,
That's always interesting to me because you take a look at a fish and you think a lot of fish are the same way when you clean them, but then there's so many different ways. Like a flounder, like if nobody's ever cleaned one, you get 4 fillets off of a flounder. You cut them down the middle, and then you fillet each side, and you get 4 pieces.
right. Yeah, the burbot's the same way. And the nice thing is, you skin them just like a catfish, and you fillet from right behind the rib cage all the way down their tail to their tail, and that's all boneless. You have no bone at all,
Oh man,
just like um the 2 loins up top above the rib cage. If you do it right, you won't get the tips of the rib cage in your loin. So you got 4 boneless fillets off of one fish. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the belly meat off of them, if it's even possible. I don't think it is, but
Was it too much rib bone?
They really, man, that if you look at the burbot, that their stomach, that whole fat part, that's their stomach and their rib cage. So there's really not enough meat to even try and get it off.
Old laughing cats. I say you popped in here, bud. What's going on?
How you doing, Laughing Cat?
Um, LG Bass. He wants to know how big the burbot get.
I've heard of 30-pound burbot. There is a nuclear plant about, I don't know how far north of us, but they have their big, they got baskets that catches the fish when they come in, when they draw water in to run the plant. They got baskets that catch any trash or fish that come in with it. And one of the drivers from FedEx was telling us that the guy was telling them they get about 30-pound burbot in those baskets every once in a while, which they send off to get tested. So I've heard of 30-pounders. I've never seen one. I myself cook my burbot, Melissa, in butter, ginger, and garlic.
What's up, Joe? You just making it in? Yeah, I didn't hit any traffic going back home. Oh man. Well, we got a good bit of time left. Now's one of those spots in here. If y'all have any questions you actually want to ask, or we'll be glad to answer them. And if there's anything else that you actually want to talk about, now would be a good time. I know we were talking leaders and things like that. You do a little bit of shark fishing, or you had back in the past.
Yeah,
Which is how we kind of got onto your leaders down east. He was showing me some of the stuff that you've sent him before, which is pretty neat.
yeah. I mean, the leaders I use the Carolina rig, the Santee rig. I'll even use a three-way rig. Also got the slide rig that I grew up using in Hawaii that I use for catfishing and just fishing in general. It's a proven rig, so I brought it from saltwater to freshwater, and people in the catfish community has actually used it. If I'm not mistaken, Fishing and Freedom's caught his PB blue on the slide rig that he's used.
That's neat. Let's see. Laughing Cat said, "What techniques have you used in Hawaii that you don't see used here?" Which I'm sure the slide rig, that's probably one of them.
The slide rig, pretty much that's it. Yeah. I mean, every other rig, the three-way rig, I've used in Hawaii too. I've used that different ways. I've used it where my leader, it was almost like I guess you could say a bumping rig or dragging, whatever. The hook line was, I would make my hook line like 4 foot long, and my leader or my sinker line was only maybe 6 inches long. So it's pretty much the same rigs that we used in Hawaii, except for the slide rig that I introduced.
Now that slide rig, if it's the one that I'm thinking about, you got that little metal piece that's kind of spiral that you can put on the line and slide it down, right?
Correct. I actually got I got some set up. There's it's just I say it's like a corkscrew actually, but we call it a pigtail. You got that. This part here goes onto your main line, and then you got the barrel swivel, and then your leader line. But you also got the stop ring that's part of it, that you tie onto your main line. That stop ring, what it does, you tie your sinker line on that, and then you cast just your sinker out, so you ain't got to worry about your bait flying off. So you can really, I mean, Steve Adams even uses the slide rig, and he can cast a lot further with it than he does anything else.
He'd probably knock out one of the kids trying it. That'd be great.
And another technique, because I do use squid up here. What I do is I'll take the skin off the squid, and you know how it's white. What I do is I'll dry it off. I'll put paper towel in a container, and I'll just make a line of squid, and then I'll get like salt, sea salt, and I'll throw it over the squid, and I'll fill that whole container all the way. Each layer will have sea salt on it. That keeps the squid from turning pink in the water.
So you actually use squid up there. What are you usually targeting when you use squid?
Burbot.
Oh, the burbot.
Yep.
So they really like stinky kind of baits.
Yeah, they like squid, shrimp.
See, I know I seen a question Laughing Cat put. Oh yeah, he was saying, do you have a website that they can look up that corkscrew piece?
Yeah, highfishgear.com. HI and then fish and gear. Highfishgear.com.
Sounds like you got some more people interested in that slide rig. I do.
I mean, it'll work. It works very well.
Yeah. You're not allowed to do it off of the piers down in Panama City. I do them from shore, but
Yeah.
I do something like that. I just kind of like rig my own thing on there. But we catch Spanish and kings because the live bait, they'll stay way up in the water column.
Yep.
And, they'll smoke it, and then once it gets all the way down to that anchor stop like you're talking about, then you set the hook on them, and
yeah,
it works out really well, even from shore.
And for any other cat fishermen like we are, I suggest if you get any, you can get both. There's the weighted, and what that has, you can get a 1 ounce or a 2 ounce weighted slide. All it is an egg sinker they put on here on the shank, so it's a little longer. I would use that for cut bait, and your not weighted slide used for live bait, because that live bait can swim up and down your main line. I usually make my sinker line about 3 foot long, and I use 15 20-pound test for the sinker line.
Okay.
Just in case, like ocean fishing, if it gets hung up, that when that fish grabs on and it runs, that sinker line will just snap. It's supposed to just snap. So you got that stop ring and that fish right on there. And the stop ring can hold, the ones I get, they are rated for a 300-pound test. And it's actually that brand, the store, the tackle shop I get it from is High Fish Gear. But if you gotta go put in High Fish Gear, ring stops or whatever it's called, slide bait stoppers, and that'll pull up a 10-pack. Because if not, they only got like a 3-pack. You're better off just getting a 10-pack of them.
Yeah.
Because you will, I mean, you'll lose a rig here and there.
Yeah. Especially saltwater, you'll get cut off every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What's the biggest fish you've caught on your slider rig in freshwater?
In freshwater? Probably that 4-pound burbot. Because I never even thought about it for freshwater until I was up here catfishing. I was like, you know what? I can use that slide rig, man. I just got to figure out where I can get them from. So right now, a 4-pound burbot. This year it'll change because I'm gonna cast that thing. What I'll do is because when we go catfishing in the river, it's real rocky. What I'll do is I'll make my leader line, my hook line, I'll make that about 6 inches. And I'll make like I said, my sinker line will be about 3-4 foot long. And that'll keep the hook off the bottom. It'll keep it up in the water column better.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to try. I'm going to try and see if I can't catch something big off of one of those rigs this year. That's you kind of talked me into it now. That's going to be a little thing and see what we can get into.
Yeah. Oh man, on these slide rigs, I've said it before. We've slid 5-6 pound live bait down. So people like donkey baits. I've done super donkey baits, I guess. 5-6 pound fish. We were sliding, man. We slid down a 5-pound redfish one time, and that trevally jack, that Olua, that's got to be a big fish to take that. How you doing, Mike?
What's up, Clay? I see you in here, bud.
Seen some dink over stink. And then, of course, everybody knows I'm sponsored by Jules Catfish Bait. If you guys want to check them out, I got discount code is my channel name, Hawaiian Fisherman, for 10%. Any more questions?
Yeah, see, John Holiday, I see you in there also, bud. I seen you earlier. I just didn't get a chance to say hey to you.
How you doing, John Holiday? Quiet man. Curtis.
Yeah, that's I think I'm gonna have to rig one of those up and try it up in Tennessee and see if I can't get one of them big blue cats on one.
Oh man. The biggest blue cat I've seen so far is however big Fishing and Freedom, Rich's blue PB is. And it held on. It worked like it should.
That's awesome. Let's see. Yep. Oh, Clayton's in here.
How you doing, Clayton?
Yeah, I didn't say hey to you earlier, but I seen you in here, Cause. You know I got to say hey to you.
How you doing, Cause?
Is there anything that you want to talk about? We've got a few minutes going on. If there's anything that I know we've been talking fishing and everything. Is there anything you got coming up this year that you're looking forward to, or any?
Actually, um, not really. Well, this weekend coming up, if we do go fishing, I'll actually be fishing with somebody that follows our community pretty well, Alan Pershada.
Oh, okay.
Alan P. He's here in Wisconsin too, and he's a fisherman, so he'll probably come join us if we fish in Port Washington, Wisconsin. But as for the show, um, I just want to get more fish on lives. Hopefully, try and get a camera where I can do videos too.
Yeah.
Learn how to do some editing, get better at it.
That's one good thing about doing lives is that you don't have to. I mean, usually you don't have to do any kind of editing. It's fine, but when you start doing videos, the editing can be ridiculous. The amount of fishing that you do, you might as well double that amount of time for editing.
Right.
Oh,
I
wow.
know. That's me. I rather do lives because the way I look at it, a video, you can take multiple fishing trips and break it down into a short video and show all the catches from multiple fishing trips. The way I look at it, just keep it raw, man. You either caught fish on your trip or you didn't catch no fish on your trip. But everybody wants to see fish.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, if you can't catch a fish on a live, oh well, it's part of fishing. It's not called catching.
It's true. Now you got any baits that you're wanting to try this year that's going to be different for anything, or you going to be sticking with the same stuff that you've been using?
I'm actually going to try some. Uh, I can't remember what the fish is called, but it's in the Asian store sells it. It's like they got herring. I've never used herring up here, so I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna try that out this year. But and I might actually try squid for catfish. See how that does.
Yeah. Now
I
I
mean, it
know.
should work.
Yeah, we catch if we're really hurting for bait. If we want to catch channel cats to eat, like we can use squid or shrimp. They go crazy for it. Uh,
Right.
I've never caught nothing big in freshwater using squid though.
So yeah, I'm gonna try squid in fresh water and see if I can catch something big. And like I say, I'm not a trophy fisherman, but man, this year we are traveling all over the state of Wisconsin to chase big fish or try to. We're going to hit the Wisconsin River. We're going to go as far as the Mississippi River.
Oh wow!
That's about a 6-hour drive, depending on what part of it you go to. And we're going to hit actually up there in Green Bay, the pier area. It's a good, I've heard it and I've seen pictures of big flathead caught out of there and big channel cats caught out of, that's the Fox River. So I fished the upper part of the Fox like Mark fishes the lower part down there in Illinois.
Nice.
So we're fishing the same river. It's just two different states.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. So you're going to try to catch some flatheads. That is a good question. What all where you live at? What can you target in your area? Obviously, you got the salmon and you got the burbot, and you were saying catfish.
We got flatheads and channel cat. And I'm going to target. I've never caught a flathead. So this year, they're like on my listed to catch.
Mm.
Because my buddies caught one, but it was only like an 8-pounder. But we're trying to target some flatheads mainly this year when we do start catfishing.
Oh man, that slide rig will be perfect for flatheads. Put something alive down there kicking.
Yep, that's
Man,
why I brought it. That's why I brought it to the community for the flathead fishermen mainly, because you fish a lot of snags, a lot of cover and stuff. So, like I said, for that, I'll be using my hook line. My leader line will be 6 inches long,
yeah,
so they'll have to come up and hit that bait.
that'll be awesome. And I'll be trying to keep an eye on, especially when you do lives. I'm hoping maybe we could see you catch one of them big jokers on a live. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be going live a lot. Every time we go out, I go live. So,
Yeah.
but there's so many different rivers here, man. And they all have good catfishing in them. We've researched. There's actually one river. I can't remember the name of it. The DNR.
What's
The
up, Joe?
DNR. They'll do their tests. They'll tag fish, and then every couple of years, they'll put a net out, gill net out, and they'll see if there's any of the tagged fish that around the area. There's this one flathead. They tagged this guy. I guess it's been quite a while, almost 20 years or a little over 20 years ago. Well, they tagged him and they caught him in the gill net in the same area that they tagged him in. And for 10 years, this fish disappeared. They didn't know where he was or anything. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, he was in the net again. And he was like, if they said they had to guesstimate his age, he's probably about 50 years old.
Wow.
Because they figured he was about 40 or 50 pounds at that time. So when they first caught him, he had to have been like 10 years old, they said.
Man, it's
So,
hard to imagine they live that long, you know? You
yeah,
never think of a fish living that long, but they live for a good while. But geez, 40, 50-year-old fish.
yeah.
Well, guys, this is we're getting close to the end right here. We just a few minutes before the Catfish Weekly takes place. I appreciate everybody coming in here. I've seen a few people do it. If you don't mind, somebody put a link up to his channel again. I'm sure most of us are subscribed to his channel, but if you're not, please check him out. It's like I keep bringing it up because it's neat to me, but the bourbon fishing really kills me whenever you get them things up. They're just absolutely crazy looking, and
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier, they'll wrap around your arm like a snake. That just freaks me out. But yeah, y'all, if you haven't seen it, check out his channel. Some good fishing, and you do a lot of talking on other lives and stuff. I've seen you going
Yeah.
up and talking, so you're a pretty good part of the community. Yeah, I think that about covers everything. I'm curious to see what all you're going to catch this year, especially your area. You know, like I've never been that far up,
Hmm.
so that stuff is all new to me. Like when you sent the picture of the salmon, I was excited. I'm like, oh man, because that's probably something I'll never catch. So I want to hear about it. You know,
Well,
all of
if
that.
you can always make a road trip up here.
Yeah, I've got so many people that want me to fish with them. The list just keeps getting longer and longer. But I really do want to go up and do some fishing in areas that I've never been before.
Right. Yeah, like I said, if anybody ever wants to come up and fish just catfishing, or hell, I even go pan fishing with people. I don't care. As long as the lines get them wet, man, I'm happy.
Shoot, that's the best part. It don't matter what it is as long as you're out there trying to catch something.
Now, there is one thing I will be doing different for my pan fishing this year, which I'll go live when I go pan fishing too. I'm gonna break out some old cane poles. They're bamboo cane poles. There's 3 sections to them, and I'll be fishing for panfish with cane poles this year.
Bringing it back old school. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go old school, and I'm gonna outfish everybody on that lake
Probably
like I
will.
usually do, man. The lake I go to for pan fishing, I fish right off the boat dock. These guys are dropping in their $100,000 bass boats and all this stuff, and they come back. I ask them if they catch anything. They're like, no. They're like, what about you? I'll pull up a stringer full of pumpkin seed and bluegill.
Nice. Pumpkin seed, that's my favorite. They look really nice. I like the bright colors on them.
Yeah, that is a very pretty fish.
Well, I hate to do it, but we're going to have to end it here, everybody. And we'll see y'all back on the next Monster Monday or over, I guess, here in a few minutes, the Catfish Weekly. But if you don't mind, whenever I stop this, just hang out with me for a minute before I'll let you go. But we'll see everybody either out on the water here soon, which the fish are starting to run everywhere, it looks like. And if not, then I'll see y'all back on another Monster Monday. Peace.